everybody, it's...
Whoa!
It could be Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa. Might not be. Maybe it's more intro. I don't know. It's live.
It's the wrong button.
Whatever. It's like a cockpit back there. Are we here now? I think we are. I'm going to show you guys, if you'd like. Hi, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa. Today I'm going to show you how to paint this really fun city abstract at night. This is what we call a one hoot painting, which means it's our easiest level of painting. I specialize in beginners, but I recognize that beginners kind of come in levels, and this would be our entry level. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
He pushes buttons, as you might have noticed already, and he tracks me with cameras, and he zooms in, and he also reads your comments. So he's a lot going on over there.
It's not a one hoot production.
It's not, no, it's a 20 hoot production. But
Two, maybe. 2 hoot.
20. Nobody, I was over there once when he was painting. That was like, and he like really simplified everything down to like 6 buttons I had to deal with, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. So, all fairness there. So today we're going to be working on this really fun abstract, and it's really great how it goes in. It's a very simple construction process. I'm going to show you every step of it. I'm going to be using acrylic paint. I'll tell you the tools. I'll tell you the techniques. I'll even tell you how to mix the colors, everything you need to know. We're going to be doing this on canvas panels. I get these at close to me actually in these packs. This is an 11 by 14, but you could do this on a 9 by 12. There is a traceable if you are not wanting to block this in or sketch this in, though I would say this is a pretty friendly one if you're wanting to give that a try for the first time. The canvas over here, I've got the colors of quinacridone magenta, diox purple. I'm going to be using a little Mars black or carbon black. I got titanium white, I got phthalo blue, and I got cadmium yellow. On the blacks, just use whatever black you have. Whatever black you have. And honestly, on these colors, just use the colors that you have. It's very friendly to customization. The first thing that I've got to do, Mr. Cooney,
Yes?
is I've got to read our wishes.
Yeah.
On our show, in our community, our Sherpettes, people that follow us regularly, we have a tradition of putting wishes or intentions or thoughts or prayers or hopes onto our canvases and painting over them as, I don't know, it's kind of like doing the lanterns up into the sky. It's just an act of positivity. So Susie has a wish that her eldest daughter has a very successful getting pregnant and has a baby. She's ready for that. A really good procedure there. Mary is wishing the best and tons of support for those going back to school, especially teachers. Go teachers. Lynn is wishing for peace and healing to bring her family back together and to resolve their conflicts so that they can start just enjoying their time together on this earth. To have light and hope to help Jody, who's dealing with loss. Jody's really dealing with like an unbelievable loss right now and going through a lot. So just if the universe could throw her a lifeline, that would be great. Linda is strength for a family who's also going through a very similar loss. So universe, throw them a lifeline. Edith, relief and balance to mind, body, and soul around bipolar disorder. So definitely that, it's a really tough condition to be struggling with. So I hope you are supported. I hope you have a lot of compassion around you. And I hope you remember that this is body chemistry. And that's just something that sometimes we have to deal with, and that you're just a beautiful person. Patricia is wishing for a pain-free summer, and considering John, and I'm not kidding, she's on 108 surgeries.
Whoa.
Yeah, so we're wishing that for you too. And then also for Ian to have a good result on a test. So we definitely always good results on tests. Be they exams at school or medical tests, driver's tests, whatever tests you guys have going on, I always wish you good results.
It could be a maker's test.
Maker's test, yeah, any
art
test.
Tests.
I have never been a fan of tests, which is why I try not to give them too much. I'm just putting out a grip of this black paint.
I once took a test to test my aptitude for test taking.
Did you?
It was not a good test. I did not do well.
Put out black paint, and I got me, this is a number 26 bright. They're synthetic filaments. This brush is for acrylic paint and heavy body paint. And what I like about brushes for acrylic is that they're strong enough to deal with the heavy bodied paint and push it around, which is what I'm going to be doing here as I push my black paint out, putting the wishes into the universe so good things will happen. I just want good things to happen for everybody. The greater good. I'm on the team of the greater good. I signed up.
They
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 put
love
out a
the.
call sheet, and I said, me, me, me.
I have to say they love the art today, but they're like, can we get a close up of that necklace?
Oh,
What?
this was a birthday gift from my mother-in-law. I have a very good mother-in-law, and she's very good to me with Betsy Johnson.
Is that who that one was?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm sure that
Betsy
was going to be the next
Johnson.
question.
She's very good to me.
You
It
know, that
was
was
just a joy to get.
that was.
I think it was back when I was going through that stress itching. I think she was feeling really bad for me because she has a very high stress job herself. She works in the school system as well, and her job has a lot of stress. And so I think
Yeah.
she has a lot of compassion and sympathy for those going through a stressful time.
So you're just painting in the
Whole
background.
thing black. I could have done that all ahead of time, but I find sometimes just even this act is helpful. Seeing people can then see the paint come out and how I'm even just painting the canvas black.
And this also lets put wishes in there.
We get the wishes.
We
I
get the
want my
wishes in there.
wishes.
Yes.
Adds a couple minutes to the video, but
No.
you can always go, I got it. Paint canvas black. Fast forward. But then you miss the humor, and I feel bad for you.
So Stephanie was asking, what's the difference in the size of a 26 and a 30?
Okay, I can't find my 30 right now, but the 30 is about that big.
It's a little bit bigger.
And here's the deal you guys have got to understand. Long handles and short handles aren't, this is the same line of brushes. These are both Ruby Satins, right?
Yep.
But this particular one is a 10 and this is a 30. And you can see, like, I mean, this is a 26. So this doesn't seem 2.5 times bigger, does it?
Right.
And they're
So-
both brights, but you can see the length out is very different too.
Mm-hmm.
Long handles have a shorter, it's just, listen, this is brush companies. It's how I ended up going to NAMM for the first time. I was like, I need to get an answer about what's happening with brushes.
That's actually that's how I got to talking to Ed, was just like, okay, tell me about brushes.
And
He was
why
like,
are these sizes so crazy? Do we have the hairdryer hooked up today?
indeed you do.
My dove, my darling, my sweetie pie.
I think
I was such
so.
a handful the other day on the live. I'm going to be good today.
Oh,
I'm going to rinse this out and I'm going to dry it off and put it to the side. You don't want to leave acrylic paint on your brushes. If you're very new to acrylic paint, don't leave your brushes down to dry or they will become sticks. That's
sticks.
no good. I mean, I have a way of fixing it, but you don't want to stick, right? You want your brush to be a brush. I'm going to dry this and John's going to talk to you about cool things.
Okay. Yeah. Painting with sticks. Well, it is possible. It's less expressive than brushes. So definitely try to keep your brushes clean. And while you're doing that, you'll notice one of the cool things is that we hopefully will be able to see this paint dry. Wow, that's exciting, right? But as she applies the air, you'll see that it goes from this glossy to this matte finish. And that's how you know it's drying. And that's one of the things that in paint you can clearly see here in the black, but you don't always see that in your other colors, even though it is sometimes taking place. So be aware of that in that the finish of your paint will slightly change as it dries. Also, when drying your paint, your surfaces, use the lowest heat setting, because that low heat setting actually helps reduce the color shift and any shrinkage that you might occur. Now, what you see is her wiping the edges down, because there gets paint on the edges.
I'm a vigorous painter, and then it comes and gets me.
It just leaps right off and gets on her fingers, and then it
I
shows
got
up in
painter's
super close-ups.
And then people are like, are you an artist? And I'm like completely covered in paint. I'm like, might be.
Yeah, it's like super hard to get hand shots of her because her hands are always covered in paint.
Why don't you do hands videos? Have you seen my nails? Okay. So I'm going to put out some of my titanium white. And you'll notice I'm using Holbein and the new Artist Loft Level 3 paint. I'm really happy with both of these brands. I also very fond of Golden. Don't know where that came from. Glitter, I guess, just suddenly exploded out of the sky. Oh, I have to also, I have kind of a brag thing I've got to do.
Yeah?
Yes, this is my youngest daughter's very first loom bracelet.
Oh,
She gave it
nice.
to me. It's the inaugural one.
Yes, it's nice.
Isn't that nice?
It's hot.
I'm sorry. I'm going to put the blue over here because I'm not mixing any green, so there's no point in the blue and yellow being close to each other. There's no point. I'm going to put the blue and the purple next to each other. And then I'm going to put out my quinacridone, which I really, really like. I didn't end up using that much gloss glazing liquid in this because it's a lot of dry brushing, but it's
No
in the
wonder.
list. It's just a product that I highly
That's okay.
recommend people have for acrylic painting, but I don't think I'm going to use it in this project. First thing I am going to use, though, is the sharpened chalk. You guys ready for some sharpened chalk?
Yeah. You're like, where are you gonna make me do it? Picture in picture?
I'm
No.
gonna kind of cheat here and put my two paintings next to each other so I can
I
get
can
the
do that.
measurements sort of close, up.
We can do that.
Is that okay?
Sure.
So I just want my little line here to be somewhere in the same space. All right, I'm gonna come here and then I'll tell you how far down it is. I'm gonna go across with my little chalk line and then I'll tell you how far down it is exactly. It is 18 centimeters, which looks to be just a little over 7 inches, is this horizon line that I have going here. And then I'm going to come up here and just make sure I've got a little line over here to talk about maybe a building up top here. And then I'm going to come down and just make sure I've got a similar line maybe right here. This will just help me with my brushes when I try to make sure that my example painting and my class painting are very similar in process is really what it is. So if I look at this, I started my road just below here about a little over 4.5 inches over. So I'm going to do that here. Once I get this part in, then I can make them both pretty similar. They won't be exactly the same. And by the way, to that end, as you watch mine even deviate from my own painting, remember we're not copy machines. It is not our job to make duplicates. We've got a machine for that. We are artists. We're expressing ourselves. So yours should look like yours and mine should look like mine. But all very similar, like we were all standing and looking at the same sky. All right. But if one of you wants to just paint a big giant daisy, that's okay too, because this is art. I am going to come from this point that I marked out, and I'm going to make a nice little sort of S line coming down to the corner. That's going to be my road, my first line of my road. And this can be vanishing into the distance. Now, it's interesting. These lines are parallel in a sense in that they're following a similar curve, but they're going to be traveling away from each other a bit. So this is going to be where it's close. And then as it gets closer to us, it of course widens out. I'm going to bring that out there. And that lets me know a little something about the road. And then in the middle of this, which I'm going to end up leaving black, so I'll just make this the lightest chalk mark ever. That would be the middle of my road. And so everything builds off of that, and everything is pretty chill past that. Now,
What did you use to sharpen your chalk?
oh, I just use a sharpener. I get these. This is not good for the sharpener, and there's a very cheap version that they make with the 2 holes that I highly recommend too. But it's the Faber-Castell. This does my color pencils and watercolor pencils, my weird little pencils that I've got to do technical stuff with, and this one does my chalk, but it's probably for my jumbos.
Huh.
I probably should not have used it how I do, but I love it used this way. So you do what you do, right? Now I'm going to make a little line coming up from here. It's going to be like my first building. Like you do.
Yes.
And I'm going to just come across here. These T-squares are fantastic. If you don't have one, believe it or not, paper towels have perfectly square edges. That's just a thing I learned. I was like, wow, paper towels have really square edges. I'm going to come back about an inch on this lower building and bring down this line. I find that if I square up these lines ahead of time, I just have an easier experience painting my little skyline. If I lived in a city like Seattle, though, to tell you quite honestly, I would probably paint something like the Space Needle in my skyline. You know?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to make a little I'm going to bring this back a little bit because I want a little more opening. I want the opening to be about to here, which is a couple inches. And this building is going to have a little angle out. And then I'll just bring that line down. I like me a little, I always, I don't know, whenever I do my abstract city planning, which is what I call this, this is abstract city planning, my architects get a little mid-century modern on a couple of the buildings.
You know, there's a few cities in America where I feel like there was some abstract city planning done.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to tell you, not just America. If you've ever been to Vancouver, what's going on there?
Wow.
That's some crazy cool architecture.
Well, I think what happened there is that a whole bunch of people said, wow, this is a really nice place to live. And then all piled in there, and then some creative engineering happened to make that city.
Isn't that nice?
Like,
All the rest of it we just freehand it in. So that's one of the reasons why coming out with the black is super helpful. And then you're just like chalking it in, and somewhere around your house there's some kids chalk.
yeah.
Kids chalk, little watercolor pencils, something.
And it's everywhere. You can get that little chalk.
CVS.
Yeah. Corner store, all that kind of stuff.
I'm going to get my number 26 bright out again. The other reason between these two, if you're standing, it's better to have a long handle. And if you're sitting, it can be more comfortable to have a short handle. Something to think about when you're looking at brushes and trying to make good decisions for your studio. I will try to always make sure I give you recommendations that give you good decisions for your studio.
Yep.
I'm pulling the brush out. You saw I just dipped it in water and I got it wet, drug off the extra. I'm pulling it out into the brush, and you'll see me make this landing strip and flip. And this is a process of loading paint inside the brush, so that when I come here, and I'm going to just brush blue right over the black. Now, right here is why I bother using Pro Paint, because the pigmentation of the paint is so saturated that I can paint this blue over the black and see it. If you're painting, say, like a little like crazy named paint brand from, like, I don't know, Amazon or Wish, or a student very economical paint, you may find that you have a little trouble seeing your blue over the black, and that's because the company didn't give you enough pigment. I'm going to start calling these guys on this stuff now. They didn't give you enough. And I have to say that the paint binding and the pigment is not an area to save money, in my opinion. That's just my humble opinion.
But I mean,
what are you going to say after that?
It's like, sure, if you want paint to flake off your canvas, go right ahead. What are
It's just how I feel about it. I don't get the practice.
You can't really have
companies like, Abstract Acrylic does them in the pouch, and they're super saturated, and they're very economical.
There you go.
Like super economical. So I don't get the not going to that trouble. So you can see I've gotten just this bluey streak up here.
Yeah, I had to pump up. It's so dark.
It's dark on dark, but what?
It is.
We're going to do this little thing, and it's going to like make it pop. I'm going to get just a little white into my brush. I'm going to make sure, I don't want any black in there, so I'm going to get exact same size brush, but not with black paint. So I can't go take mine to the sink and like wash it out with soap.
It's super corrupted.
I want a really saturated color. So I'm going to come get a little bit of white onto my brush, just a smidge. And then here in the center, I'm going to just streak up as straight as I can handle in very light pressure this background area.
It's hard because I want to get the entire stroke, but I also want to zoom in to see those streaky streakiness.
I know, it's like, what shot to
so
get?
Where you go? Okay, I'm pretty.
To be the videographer of the Sherpa is so stressful. So many yummy shots. He like loses his mind in the watercolor classes because he's like, I want to see the paint do the blendy thing where it bleeds out and blooms everywhere, but I also want to see the whole thing.
That's why we get multi-shots.
That's why John gets multi-shots, because he's just like you. He's just curious about what the paint's going to do. So you can see I'm just not pressing the brush very hard into the canvas, am I? And I'm just letting the white go down. And I got a little off my straight line, so I'll just bring this back. The only thing I don't want to do is just work it over and over and over and over and over again. I want to just be light about it. and recognize that I'm showing this sort of streakiness. The second one actually probably will be even prettier than the first one. Just because it works that way. I feel like my sound is falling off.
I can go check you.
You check my sound,
Sure.
baby.
I will
I
mute
feel
you.
like it's going to go boink. Now, this is weirdly the hard one for me because it's at this angle. So what I do is I flip my brush at first to its little edge to sort of catch this and keep my vertical space. So I just use that little corner. And then I do the stroke up, and that seems to help me get around that weird little corner. So here we go. I'm going to get some blue into my brush like you do.
Does that feel better?
Yeah, much better. Much snuggier. Much snuggier. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got a little bit right up to the edge, and then I can pull this.
So, I love it. Angela says 300 Sherpats. The movie must be made. I don't know what I don't know what was going on in chat before that, but I love it and I agree.
He's like, yes, just generally, yes.
I would love to do a movie about 300 Sherpats. Just
He would.
300 random Sherpats. I'll do it. Just tell your stories.
Just tell us. Just tell us. I might get into my glazing medium to glaze over here, but I want to keep this sort of black and how it is, you know? And it's okay to just be sort of slow and careful through here. I normally like really whiz through my paintings, but you want these lines to be crisp and thoughtful, right? And that's how you're gonna get those effects. Rinse out, rinse out, rinse out. Let this all have a little minute. Now, while I'm here, one of the things I can do, because I don't really have, you know, a line dividing these two buildings, I can even sort of start to pull that out, can't I?
Yeah.
And that's just a clean, damp brush. And if I was using, like, say, an oil pastel, that wouldn't work then. That would not be a fun thing for anybody. I like to make that building purple, but I like that purple to have some quinacridone magenta in it. So I'm going to load up with quinacridone. And I do that by going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And a little bit of my purple. And you can see it just makes it a little bit pinker. This is my unicorn purple. We're declaring that right now. You gotta love a unicorn. And I'm just brushing right over the black. Is this crazy how simple this is? And yet how gorgeous? That's what I love about this. Not crazy technologically, you know, complicated for us as little artists. We're not having to do a bunch of crazy painting stuff, but we're getting great results. And I love that. Just coloring little squares. Why not, right? I'm going to get a little more of my magenta. And sometimes it's nice to get a smidge of the white into the magenta. And I mean a smidge. Like when I mean a smidge, look at me sneaking with the corner of my brush. And you'll notice I work the outsides, not the centers of my paint plop. Pull that down. And that can have a little friend next to it. Pulling it over. See how I'm using the brush to make the shape of the building? That's lovely. That works out really, really well.
Yeah.
And then I'll come over here and do a similar thing. I'm going to just use what's on the brush, and I'm going to paint this. Not the whole thing, mind you. Not the whole thing. Because we want a little black building peeking out. And where I need to come along the edge and square that up, I can easily do that. Now I'll just leave this little part peeked out, doing its own deal. And I can come and get a little more magenta loaded on here. And this time maybe even work just a little purple into it. And I'm going to pull a streak down just like that. And then stair step another one. And stair step another one. Doesn't that feel like buildings? Can you even see those? I don't know.
Yeah, look.
They're like super bright on my thing. I'm like,
yeah,
it's
you can
so
totally see
bright.
it.
And they're so like...
I mean, like...
Here we go. I'm going to add a little white so you can really see.
Oh, no,
stairs.
we can see them. Believe me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they're
there.
There you go. Okay, you guys can see them now. Anytime you add a little, just a smidge of that white and streaks through, it's going to feel a little bit like it's a rainy day. It is. It's going to feel a little bit like it's a rainy day. Now I'm going to take this purple and pull it out, and I'm going to get that same smidge. You know how I like my smidges, my scotches, my teeny bits, and it's loosely mixed on my brush. And we're going to come at this midway point here, And look, we're going to pull down another layer of purple just using the square of the brush, and we are going to let this taper off. But that almost implies another building set, doesn't it? Isn't that just so pretty? You guys see that in there?
Yeah.
Just on the edge, edge, edge. Living on the edge. All right, there we go. And you can always, every once in a while, come back and do this. Look, when you come back, it creates another architectural element. So what we're doing is we're doing very geometric brush strokes to talk about a very geometric little space. Now, next fun thing that we get to do, we're going to take, I think, a number 2 bright, and this is, so you can see it's quite a small little brush. And I'm going to get a little of my cad yellow. And I guess in this case, I am going to put out a little glazing medium. You could also just use water. What the glazing medium does is in painting this product, only this product, because they all say glazing, but they all do a different thing. This product, it slows the drying time and lets you glaze and also extends the paint. It's a multi-product.
Multi-product.
Right? Lilu Dallas multi-pass. All right, so I'm going to make some little city lights. I'm going to come right here and pull down a little square. And I'm going to come over to the left and pull down a little square. And I'm going to come down right here and pull down a little square. Letting this dry a bit. And then we could come right here, pull down a little square. And then it's fun to get just a little quin in there. It's going to kind of orange it up. And I'll make 2 top, more quin. 2 top little windows that are a little more orangey. See, that's very chill, isn't it? Like, it's so chill, man. It's so chill, I can't even deal with how chill it is.
So,
Make a little more of my yellow and a smidge of my white, guys. Smidge, smallest amount you've ever gotten in your life. Yeah?
when you get to the next road part, Walt, I'll fill you in on what's going on here in chat. So you get
Okay,
the
I
windows in.
totally want to hear it. I'm going to do a very streaky one right here. Really light pressure. I'm pulling it down and I'm just letting it sort of streak. Like you're seeing it blurry in the distance. And this one I'm actually going to take above the building. Can you see how I'm doing that? That light? You can go ahead and pull one next to it. It implies a whole lot going on in your architecture. And I'm going to get a little of my glaze while I got it. And I'm going to just glaze this reflection. See how I'm making it kind of blurry?
Oh, yeah.
What I'm doing, I'm making them a little bit blurry, like they're in the distance. Let's blur it and blur it. If you don't have glazing medium and you want to practice the technique, you can thin your paint in water. Just remember, if you over thin acrylic paint, as a consistent thing, it can cause underbinding problems. But I think for the purposes of this technique, you'll be okay. You'll be all right. It's just a little bit. You'll be all right. All right, what did you want to tell me about chat?
Oh, well, so
let everybody catch up a little bit.
Well, just in general, I know that we're cruising right along. So, and we're gonna try to keep we're about half hour into our show. And we're gonna try to keep this one right around an hour.
Yeah.
So, now everyone was asking. There's a lot of question about artist block and some issues, and so I volunteered us to go live on Facebook after this, where you would go into a little detail about artist block while I'm setting the next part.
Artist block. Oh, like creative block.
Yeah, there's some.
Yeah,
folks.
Absolutely. I got stuff. Think about it. I don't even daily painting is cute. Like I got to do like 5 paintings a day.
Well, I figured, but I didn't want to distract us from the show, so I volunteered us to go live on Facebook after.
Yeah. I'll show you some designing process. I've got some stuff I've got to do, and I've got to talk about it so we could turn on the cameras. And
there you go.
Somebody also asked how I design stuff, and I'm working on this Hobbit series, some Lord of the Rings stuff. But you fans, who's a fan? I know some of you are fans.
I'm a fan of your fan.
All right. I'm going to get my number 26 again. And I'm going to get my blue. And at first, I'm going to just come here and I'm going to come along my road, as you can see. And I'm going to just very on the edge. See, I'm using the edge of the brush to create a nice crisp line. in brushes, you have these like strokes that you can do. And so there's the wide stroke, but then there's also the thin stroke that you do using the edge or the toe of the brush. And how thin that is depends on how hard you're pressing. Mostly. There's some other factors like the flow of your paint and all that. And see, then I'm switching over to the wide. I like to go into this stuff a little more sometimes on the one hoots. Just because, like, I realize, like, for some of you, it might be the first time you've ever had contact with paint and a brush since, like, maybe even kindergarten. Because some silly, crazy person in your life said something crazy like, "You're no good at art." Or, like, "I wouldn't try to do that for a living." You know how people like to be helpful, planning your life when you're small.
Well, you know what they say.
Hmm.
No plan survives first contact with the canvas.
Oh my gosh, can that be a shirt? I Someone on my team write
Sure,
down that thing he
we'll put a
just said
shirt
because
on
that'd
that.
be a great shirt. Okay.
We gotta finish our current videos, then we'll open our store.
Yeah, we have to. Oh, we have so much. You can't. You're like, where's the studio? I'm telling you, it's here. I can't wait to show it to you. I hope you guys get to see it before Christmas. All right, I'm gonna do some
So much work.
blending up here. I'm gonna get a little bit of this white. Again, we're going into that scope. See how I'm taking those small amounts? And I'm gonna just pull this through the paint very loosely. And the first thing I'll do is I'll come along this little road, curving my brush, and I sort of turn my brush in my fingers if you've never done that before. And I'm going to brush lightly. I'm more pressing the corner of the brush to get this part here. Okay, there I go, there I go. And then let's make another little building that's sort of tucked in front of this building. And we'll just use the width of the brush to talk about it. And then I can come get just some more blue paint and not rinse out. And I can just use my brush stroke to talk about some blurry buildings that could be here, right? And they're like, see how I let it just taper? That's an interesting thing. What we're doing here is we are letting your brains or the viewer's brains finish patterns. We're taking advantage of the way the human mind works because it wants to see a pattern. It'll see it where maybe there isn't necessarily that much of one. It's really cool. All right, I'm going to get a little glaze on here, and I think that I just definitely want to put a little bit of this right here, kind of geometrically, and I might even come across a little geometrically across the bottom. See how I did?
Yeah.
But we're just talking about this. We don't want to take out all the yellow on our building. We just want to make it seem a little rainy. We're doing a very similar thing on the other side. I'm just grabbing my blue at first, and I'm going to come across here. I'll go ahead and, I might even glaze over what I have there. I will just brush this down. Brushing this down. I love following the S curve of the road. I think S curves are like maybe some of my favorite strokes. It's a weird thing to be excited about, but I like them. And I'm just coating the canvas with this. Now right here, this is fun. I'm going to get a little of my quinacridone just right into my brush and a little bit of my purple and a smidge like we like to do of our white. And it's fun to come right here and just come across like this. See how we're doing? We're planning some city something here, but we're not sure what. But it gives us a little bit of color to play against. Let's get a little more.
I think it's a sidewalk, maybe.
Yeah, it's just.
Or maybe an area where you can go and hang out and paint the city.
Yeah, there you go. We're just putting this, and this will go under our bokehs that are about to happen. Now I'm going to rinse out this brush. I'm going to highlight this line right here because we have a lot of bokeh to work with in a second. So I'm going to get a little of the white into my blue. Come along my road. There we go. Just let that flow. Let the river run. All right. No, I don't think I'm Carly Simon. You don't got to write me. I actually love it when you guys. It's fine. You know what? I don't even mind when you guys write me with like stuff that's like, what? Because it's just wonderful that we're in a dialogue together.
You know, I
It really
love this
is.
time.
Even when I'm not really sure what the dialogue was about, I'm still excited that we're in it. You, babe?
I just love this time we get to spend with everybody coming out here and
Yeah,
painting
me
and
too.
chatting and being artists together.
Be some artists, man.
We're
Together, man.
we're a virtual colony.
We're a colony of artists. All right, I'm going to use my secret weapon, which is my number 6 Cambridge. You can use any bright. I really like these because they're a mix of bristles and filaments. They don't get so soft once you put them in the water that you can't use them anymore. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of work some white into it. I guess I am going to be using glazing medium. But again, you could just use water. Oh, goodness gracious. Come on, Sherpa. Pay attention. I like that I berate myself. All right, so I'm pushing this through. See, I'm working this into my brush. That's a nice way to get it all through the bristles. And I'm just going to use this just so that I have control over the opacity. And I'm going to come along here, thin line here, thin line, thin line, thin line. And then as I come down, I'll just allow the brush to widen out. And that's how I sort of get that first track of the headlights. Now, as you can see, it's going to be the whitest down at the bottom. And then it narrows up as the little cars are, far away and not approaching. So this is how I'm talking about the busy, busy cars that are driving in and out of the city. There was a book my daughter really loved when she was little, my eldest. I had to get these oversized library books for her because she had we didn't know, but she had ADHD. And so she wanted books in her face. And so I had to get these really big books so she'd let me read. And so this giant book, Where Does the Brown Bear Go? And this reminds me of the city part.
Oh.
Of that. If you're a parent, it's okay if you're not and you're like, I don't know what this book has to do with painting. Everything has to do with what we paint. That's why I talk about these things. Everything in my life impacts what I'm painting and what I'm doing. It all comes out, and it'll come out on your paintings too. So fair warning. Now I'm thickening up the paint, and I'm highlighting a little bit. See this? Inside the track, making these a little bit more thought out and stronger. If any of this goes wrong, just paint it, let it dry, and then paint it black.
That's awesome. I love how that comes all streaky and it looks like the headlights.
Mm-hmm. It's nice, isn't it?
It really is.
All right, I'm going to just widen this just a little bit right here at the front, because like you do. But we remember we've got to have the center divider because we don't want people just driving willy-nilly all over the road. Now I'm going to load right into my yellow and maybe even a smidge of my quinacridone. See how we're doing? Real streaky. And I come here, and it's a similar thing, except maybe this time I'll go back the other way. Just a little bit of this. Not too much at this yellow. I'm actually going to get a bunch more quin. So you'll notice I'm being very light, just a little bit. Let's get a lot more quin into our mixer. There we go. That's what we're talking about. Now it's tail lights. See the tail lights? His tail lights have more of a red cast to them. John probably has a car answer for why that is, but
what's that? The reason that the
why the disappearing lights are more red and the up, all that. I just paint what I see. I don't really actually always think about why it's happening. I'm just clearly it's a thing, and I should talk about it with paint. Yes.
Well, that's actually kind of an intention. Red. Our eyes are most sensitive to red light.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole lot of convenient things that can happen like that. So at night, your eyes open, the pupil opens all the way up so you can let the most light in, but red doesn't cause it to close. So you can have a very bright red light happen that won't cause your iris to close, your pupil, and thus, I talk in camera terms. But anyway, you can see red best at night. That's why they use it.
Oh, I'm loving this. Now, if you haven't seen these are my Bokeh sponges. I will brag on these, but honestly, there's a lot of companies that make Bokeh pouncers, which are the round pouncers. I just like mine because they come in the 3 sizes that I use. They have a little bit of a comfort swing here, and they have a hole through them. I think that's cool, but in full candor, in full disclosure, other places make round sponges and people use other things, and that is okay. Okay, I don't want you feeling like, oh, I can't do the painting. I don't have those exact sponges. I mean, do the painting. But, if you see them, I would highly recommend it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't want to put any pressure on you or anything. I don't get any moisture on the sponge. And what I do is I come to the paint plop and I twirl it around. And it's really interesting because when you see the sponge, it doesn't look like there's that much paint on it, does there? But all the paint is on it. Now, here's the secret trick. Let me get the water out of here. I'm going to come, and actually I'm going to be so specific, I'm going to show you using my brush. You can do this with just, picking it up, but I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I come and I generally try to get some of it spread. There we go. And now I'm going to swirl it around. See how that's just sort of integrated into there? What this is going to do
Oh, wow.
is it's going to let me go like that, and I'm going to come down
Oh,
here.
hold on.
I got it.
I thought you were getting paint. Okay, go.
Yeah, because I got to finish it with my fan brush.
Ah.
Right now, here's my secret sauce on this. Well, it's not that secret because I'm literally telling hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of people.
It's the secret that all of you people get to know.
If you watch this video, that other people who are sharing their art won't know, and they'll be like, I went to a painting party and they never showed me that. Now I'm going to put this out. I'm going to work this through my brush. That's just going to keep it sort of transparent. And I've got some nice blue out, so I don't have to be too stressed about it. And I'm going to get just a smidge of the white. There we go. I should have a fairly nice transparent glaze. This first sponge helps me get my little circle together. And if you didn't have my Bokeh sponges, but you had a fan, you could probably get away with just doing this too. There is always a way to accomplish a technique with what you have. I mean, like with a stick, leaf. I love artist tools, but the honest truth of it is that there's a lot of ways to get a painting done. So you can see I'm just creating that radiating little space. And then if I want to clean up the center, I go like that, back with my Bokeh again. Sorry, I don't know why I'm taunting my own canvas. That's a very strange thing to do. All right. It's like it and I were in a battle, John. Did my brush just roll into the paint? Oh,
God. Is rolling into the paint a harmful thing for the...
No, but it's irritating and I gotta clean it later. I'm putting another little Bokeh next to it.
Bokeh.
Now, here I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna make my nice little rounds around. Get a little more.
Improve the roundiness of the round.
The roundiness of the round. I'm just getting into my glaze and into my this. All right. Come around. Something big is happening here, right? Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Honestly, like for me, like I loved this bigger, softer, blended around little space. And then I just come back. If you need a little more blue, you just grab it and go blue, 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 blue. Beep. See? Now I'm going to do one right here again. And that will come around. You can see I just bring this around. There we go. This sponge now, I believe I can put, I highly recommend you wash them out. I put mine in water so they don't get ruined. But that's the process for that. And I don't need the fan, I don't think, again, so the fan can get rinsed out and put away. Now we're going to work some other sizes. So we're going to work our mid-size. This is the mid-size. I'm going to get some blue. I'm going to bokeh it up. I'm going to go spin, 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 spin. A little of that. Let's come here and go. Boop.
Whoa.
Bonk. Might even come inside this one and go bonk again. I might bokeh that one down into a couple sizes. Now, I want to do some pink too in the same size. So what I tend to do is I tend to pull out my sponge and flip it around. Mostly because I don't want to have to go rinse this out. But if you wouldn't like paint inside your sponge, don't do that. But I just go wash mine all out after. And so
yeah,
I'm teaching class. I will do things that are really oftentimes about like, oh, I'm teaching a class. I'm getting a little white here. Now once I brushed on, you can go, oh, that's what she was doing about that. That's crazy. And I might even grab a little of the yellow to streak into it. Now,
All right, let me get down there. Hold
I'm
on.
going to go right here, right here,
Oh.
right here, right here. So it's going to go boom, boom, boom.
All right.
And then I'm going to come over and hit a couple over here, and then it's all small sponge. And
All
then
right.
I believe it's signature and done.
I'm going to try to get the good spot. All right, go for it. I'm going to get him in there.
All right, you ready?
Yep. Oh.
Let's go here. Let's go here. Come over here. Can't help it, John. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to
Go for it.
rogue. And this, including the cap, because it's got paint on the inside, all go in the water.
Yep.
Or you go wash them all out thoroughly. And then you're going to get your little sizes, this little size. And this has some pink in it again, but it's more mixed with maybe some yellow. So let's get right in there and really mix that with some yellow. And I'm going to come and do a couple. Could be one here. Let's go here. There's 3 here. This is like, believe it or not, this is my, I want more pink for that one. Because this is my traffic light. Honey. Can I go up here? Dun, 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 dun. Couple more around. So I've layered them there. Now I'm going to flip this over. And the last little bit of these is going to be just in my yellow. So I work it through. I pounce it and work it through. And I'll come up here, John. And you want to make sure your purple's done before you hit your yellow over it. Because purple and yellow are contrast. And when they mix together, they desaturate or gray each other out. But once they're dry, it's fine. There we go. That's actually why I put some yellow over the purple. Because of that contrast.
Oh.
There we go. Back into the, everything goes into the thing. Now, I'm going to show you something. It's mildly gross, but it's not like Dr. Pimple Popper gross. It's just mildly gross. I'm going to take a earbud cotton swab. You guys know I do all kinds of art with these. I'm going to put it in my mouth. I'm going to twirl it. It's going to give me a small dot. Go right into my yellow and a little bit of my white. And because I did the twirly thing, it's not going to fuzz out on me.
Oh, yeah.
And I still do this weird little... Isn't that crazy? And you can be like, oh no, you got to be more white. And it'll be like, okay, I mean, whatever you want. I'm just a cotton swab, so I'll work with you. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Go get some pink if you want. You can paint many skylines with that technique. Many skylines. Let's give this a signature, guys. I'm going to take, this is a 3/0 detail round. You could use a monogram liner, just anything small brush that you generally sign your paintings with. I'm going to add a little blue into my white and just kind of make it interesting. Because I like my signatures to be part of my paintings. Come to the bottom. Just sign my little name right here. Hopefully you guys found this to be a delightful project that you're excited to do for yourselves.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious if this would work in watercolor. How would I do this? How would I make this? I don't know. All right. Actually, I did pretty good.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, second one's like this one's prettier, I think. All right. Remember, yours isn't supposed to look like mine. It's supposed to look like yours. Your goal here is not being perfect or getting everything exactly right. It's to have a good time, relax, de-stress, and enjoy your creative expression. So be easy with yourself. And on that note, we'll see you over Facebook, but first be good to yourself. Say something nice about you. Be good to each other. Say something nice to a stranger. And we want to see you at the Easel really soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.